Hello children and welcome back to the English grammar tutorial once again. Now in this video we are going to talk about how to form future tense and when do we use future tense. But first of all we are going to see what are the most commonly used future tense forms. So let us begin now. So children, the most commonly used future tenses are shall or will plus the base form of the verb. Now we know it as verb form 1. To be, going to plus the verb form 1, then comes the present continuous tense, then simple present tense, to be, about to plus the verb form 1 and the future continuous tense. Now we shall discuss all these one by one. Now children, first of all let us see shall or will plus the base form of the verb, that is verb form 1. Now we use shall or will for things which are decided on the spot. That means things which are not pre-planned. Okay, it is not fixed earlier. Now one extra attention you have to pay for shall, because shall is used in questions and sometimes for statements only with I and we. That means for first person singular and plural only we are going to use shall. For second person singular and plural as well as for the third person and singular and plural we won't be using shall, we will only use will. Okay, so you need to be a bit careful over here. Now let us see the examples. Shall I help you with your project? We shall go for a swim. Shall we go for a swim? So you can see wherever we are using the first person pronoun or singular pronoun or the first person plural pronoun, we are using shall. We are not going to use shall for you, he, she, it or they. So for second person and third person we will never use shall. We are going to use shall only for the first person singular as well as first person plural, and that too when we are framing questions. But sometimes we can use them for statements like we have used here in the example number 2. Alright. So children, let us see where are we supposed to use will. Okay, so will can be used in all the situations. That means it can be used with all the subjects, being it the first person singular or plural or the second person singular or plural or the third person plurals or singular. Okay, now let us see some examples. Like I will take the bus. Over here we are using will with the first person singular I. You will listen to me. Again you can see we are using will with the second person over here, second person you. We will go for a movie. Now over here we are using will with the first person plural, that is we. They will send us a gift. Now again we are using will with the third person plural. So shall is used only with the first person. It is not used with the second person or third person. But for will, we can use will with all the persons, being it first person or the second person or the third person. I hope you understood this. So children, now let us see how to frame questions with will. So we use the structure will plus the subject plus the verb form 1, that is the base form of the verb, and then comes the complement or the object ending with a question mark. Okay, so let us see some examples which are given here. Number 1, will he put up the shop? So you can see we are starting the question with will, right? Then comes the subject followed by the verb form 1 which is put over here, and then comes the complement and the statement ends with a question mark. Okay, second one, will she celebrate her birthday? Third, will you go for shopping today? So this is the way how we are going to frame questions for will. You just need to keep in mind the structure of the sentence. All right. Now children, let us see how to frame negative sentences with will. Now over here you can see I have also included shall. Now shall is not used very often. Okay, we don't use it much, but still I wanted to show you the structure. That is why I have included it over here. But first of all we are going to go through the structure of will. So we use will plus not. So in short, will plus not can be written as won't. Okay, so we use will plus not or won't plus the base form of the verb, that is verb form 1. And for shall, we use shall plus not plus the base form of the verb or verb form 1. Okay, now you can frame negative sentences either for questions or for statements. You can make anything as negative with will and shall. Okay, so first of all, let us see the examples. Shall I not get the breakfast ready? So over here you can see we have framed a question with the question in the negative form, that I'm beginning with shall. So first comes shall, then comes the subject, then comes not, then comes the verb form 1. So shall I not get the breakfast ready, and it ends with a question mark. Second one, you won't cross the road. Now these second, third and fourth, these sentences are statements. Okay, so with you we have used won't. Won't is the short form of will plus not. So you won't cross the road. Now cross is the verb form 1. Alright. Third one, it won't be easy. Fourth one, we won't make the beds. I hope you understood this. Now let us see the second form, to be plus going to plus verb. Even this form is used to indicate the future tenses, right? Now where do we use it? We use them for fixed plans made for the future, when we need to know when it is going to happen. Okay, so when we want some kind of time indication, we are using this form. Now let us understand it better through the examples. So the examples are, number 1, I am going to meet her in Delhi next week. So you can see we are using to be over here in the form of am. Am plus the verb in the ing form plus to meet. So to meet is the infinitive. Okay, yes, to plus the base form of the verb, that is verb form 1, together comprises and forms the to infinitive, which comes under the non-finite verbs. Now we are going to study it later, but as of now you can see we are using am going to plus the verb form 1. Alright, the second example, it is going to rain tomorrow. Third, we are going to have a party tonight. Fourth, they are going to sit for an exam in an hour. So if you see in all these sentences, we are using the to be plus the going to plus the verb form 1 or the base form of the verb. Understood? So now let us see how to frame questions with to be plus the going to plus the verb form 1 or the base form of the verb. Now we use the structure to be. Now to be could be am, is or are, okay, in the present tense, or it could be was and were in the past tense, anything. But we are going to indicate it for future. Okay, so we will always use to be in the present tense form, that is, are or am. Keep this in mind. So to be plus subject, then comes going to, then comes the base form of the verb plus the object or the complement, which again ends with a question mark. So let us see the examples and understand it better. Number 1, am I going to pass the board exams? So here we have to put a question mark. So you can see that the question begins with the to be form, the present form am, followed by the subject I. Since we are using I, that is why we are using am over here. Okay, if we use the second person or the third person, we will be using is if we are using the singular forms, and we would be using are if we are using the plural forms. Okay, so the question begins with am, then comes the subject followed by going to, then comes the verb form 1, that is the present tense form of the verb or the base form of the verb, followed by the subject or the complement, and the sentence ends with a question mark. Okay, so this is the structure. Let us see the second example. Is she going to Delhi tomorrow? Third, are they going to reach her next week? Fourth, are you going to have dinner now? So you can see everywhere in these questions we have used the to be form plus the subject plus going to plus the base form of the verb plus the object or complement, and we end the sentence with a question mark since we are talking about questions over here. Okay. Now children, sometimes we use the present continuous tense when we are talking about the future. Now let us see where do we use them. Now we use the present continuous tense for things that are going to take place in near future, or when we want to know when these things are happening. Now let us understand it with the example. So number one, I am working this afternoon. So you can see we have used the first person singular I. So we are using the pronoun I over here, followed by am working. As in present continuous, we know that we are going to use the auxiliary verbs is, are or am depending upon the subjects which we are using, plus the verb in its ing. So since we are using I as the pronoun over here, which falls in the first person singular, so we are using am over here. Okay, so I am working this afternoon. Now this doesn't indicate that the action is going on now. It tells us that the action is going to take place in near future. That is why sometimes we can use even the present continuous tense to indicate the future tense. Understood now? Okay, now let's go through the second example. He is eating rice in the morning. That means he is not eating rice now. It means that he is going to eat rice in the morning. That is going to happen in near future. Third one, we are driving down the street any minute now. So this again doesn't mean that we are driving on the street now. It means that any time now we will be driving into the street. Is that clear? Sometimes we also use the simple present tense for indicating the future tense, especially for the fixed schedules. Okay, that is time which is already fixed for some work or something. So we have already fixed a time to do something. So in that case, to indicate the future tense, we will be using the simple present tense form. Now let us see some examples. The class begins at 8 a.m. So we have already fixed the time of the class, that is 8 a.m. It will begin at 8 o'clock. So that is why we are using the simple present tense form of the verb over here. But it is not the sentence is indicating future tense. Okay, it is not indicating simple present tense. Alright. The second example, the school bus arrives at 7:30 a.m. or you can also say 7 o'clock. Again, this indicates that the bus comes at 7:30 or 7 o'clock. Okay. Third, the train departs from the platform B. Okay, so whenever we are talking about times which are fixed for something or some work, we will be using the simple present tense form. All right. Now children, another form to talk about the future tense is to use the to be, about to plus the base form of the verb or the verb form 1. Now we use this form when we are on the verge of doing something, or when something is about to happen at any minute from now. So just a minute later something is going to take place, or something is going to happen. In that case we are going to use this to be, about to plus the base form of the verb or verb form 1. Okay, now let us go through the examples. The class is about to begin. The flight is about to take off. He is about to open his shop. So these are the things which are going to take place a minute or two later from now. Okay, so it will take place very soon. That is why we are using this form of the verb, which is to be, about to plus the verb form 1. Now finally we are going to talk about the future continuous tense. Now we use future continuous tense when we tell someone about our future plans or something that we would be doing in the specific time in the future. So when we want to say that at this time in near future we are going to do something, then we use the sentences in the future continuous tense forms. Okay, now let us see the structure. Now again we use shall or will plus the infinitive be plus verb form 1 in its ing. Okay, now let us understand it better with the help of some examples. Number 1, by this time next year I will be working at the head office. So by this time next year, okay, I would be doing what? I would be working at the head office. The second example, you can't approach them later as they would be shifting to Bangalore soon. So if you delay, you won't be able to approach them. Why? Because they would be shifting to Bangalore very soon in future. Alright, I hope you understood this form. So with this we come to the end of the chapter. I hope you understood it. So go through your book once again, as I always say, and if you have any doubts or queries, you can notify me in the comment section. Thank you so much.